the season obviously is going to start November 25th. We're playing in Orlando. But as far as, other things that are going to be taking place, we have to be flexible to whatever. We'll have to be flexible if there's delays and when we do start. But we anticipate everything being on time and starting the 25th. And late night will occur. We will have a date for late night. Have we announced when that is yet? So we'll be announcing that soon on when that is, and we'll be doing it virtually with absolutely no one in the stands. So there's a lot of unknowns yet on the exact number of people that can attend games, home events that we're playing, but we do know all the games that are being played in Orlando, at least initially, will be played without fans totally. And we anticipate everything coming off on time unless something obviously unexpected or something negative happens between now and then.
Hey, Coach, I wonder if you could I haven't seen you since we were sitting there at Sprint Center back in March. Can you just take us through emotionally what this has been like since you were there getting ready to think you were going to play and the tournament and everything that's happened? It's been pretty crazy.
Well, the only thing that you just brought something to mind, I didn't know that anything good has happened at all through COVID. I guess there has been something good that's taken place. You guys hadn't had to deal with me and vice versa, but the thing that our mindset is good. I think mentally we're really in a good place right now. I think our guys have handled everything very maturely, and I've said that multiple times. I've been amazed at how they've handled things and how they've also handled being a college student in today's time since they've been back the 1st of August. So it doesn't guarantee success, and it certainly doesn't guarantee that we're going to have some issues moving forward or a positive test or whatnot. But I think our guys are extremely excited to play. I know that we all feel like there's unfinished business left, and even though our team's not the same, but how it ended last year obviously put a taste in everyone's mouth that we want to validate what we did last year. We didn't get a chance to with the tournament, obviously. So we're excited about everything. We think we got a good team. I know our guys are really enjoying each other and playing together. So I think we got a good group. But obviously now things have to fall right for everybody because the wrong test positive at the wrong time, that could knock you out 2 weeks in a very important part of your season. But if everything stays the way it is, I'm real excited about where we're at.
Hey, Bill, when it comes to having to just redo the whole schedule, basically, it seems like, and going to Orlando and doing all this Champions Class, because other classes that you're willing, how much has it been of a challenge for you guys to kind of just redo everything in such a short period of time to prepare for a season starting so late?
It's been a challenge, but I think it's probably been as much of a challenge for my sports supervisor, Sean Lester, as it has anyone, because he's the one that's in constant communication with the Big 12 or with ESPN and how we're going to try to do it, and trusting ESPN that we can go down to Orlando and get so many games in. And basically, I think ESPN's done a remarkably good job in trying to put these type of events and schedules together for a lot of teams, not just us or the people playing in the Champions Classic. There's a lot of events moving down there. So it's been a challenge. The thing that's been kind of screwy, and we all know it is, you only miss out on 4 games, let's say. But so your games go from 13 to 9, but some of those games, i.e. the Champions Classic, that you lost out on, you're going to have to make that up. And then they're moving 2 games in the Big 12 into December. It really shortens the amount of opportunities to play games when you still have a finals week, you still have some other things going on. So I think that we've done a remarkably good job. I think Sean's done a terrific job with it. I'm sure other schools may feel the same way right now, but there's just so many unknowns that we had to do what was best with us in a time where we're just trying to make ends meet. And so I think we were able to accomplish that.
Hey, Bill, with that run you guys were on at the end of last season and how good that team was, how often do you maybe still think back to what might have been with that postseason with that team?
To be honest with you, Kevin, I haven't. I haven't thought like that at all. I thought we had as good a chance as anybody. I've been doing this a long time and been in a lot of tournaments where I thought some of our better teams should have gone further, and some of our teams that we got kind of lucky with advanced further. I know we've been an Elite Eight team. I believe of the 16 tournaments we've been to since I've been here, I think we've been in the Elite Eight 8 times. And I think this team would have had a chance to at least get to that point the way that we were playing. But I also know this, last year's team wasn't a complete team because we did have some deficiencies offensively, but we were so darn good defensively. And we had one player that basically it'd be difficult for anybody else in America to match up with. So I think that gave us an advantage in many ways. Yeah, I'm disappointed we didn't get a chance to validate what the guys had accomplished during the regular season, but it's not something I've dwelled on at all. I think there's more important things out there than that right now, as important as that is to all of us. But if I'm asking our guys to be mature about it, I think the coaching staff should be as well.
Bill, where do you see Bryce Thompson's position, and how have all the newcomers looked, including Tyon?
Tyon's on an uptick. Tyon got off to kind of a slow start, I felt like, because of injury. He got his ankle nicked up pretty good, and it's probably wasn't himself for at least a month. I think Jethro and Latrell have both done well. I don't know that what that definitely translates to as far as being an important part of our rotation, because if everybody's healthy, then that may not be as big a need in those respective positions. But Tyon is very important to us, and Bryce has been absolutely terrific. Incredibly bright, great feel. He's not by any stretch where he needs to be. But as far as being prepared to be a freshman here, he's probably as prepared as anybody we've had. So I'm very excited about him.
Hey, Bill, going along the lines of everything that goes on with COVID and everything, I know we ask every college coach how they're dealing with it. But for you, you just mentioned if you lose a player for a week or two, that could really affect your season going forward, especially as a star player. Have you kind of re-emphasized that kind of message to those guys, knowing full well that it really can affect your season?
Well, we told them we need to be very smart come August and September. And now that we're in October and going into November, we need to be as bright as we've ever been. I mean, all of us. And it's not losing a key player. It's losing, 4 or 5 key players. It could possibly be – think about this. If your entire team has to quarantine for 14 days and you come back, you're expected to play games the first week you come back. So you missed out on 4 games. Then you're expected to play games the first week you come back. You have absolutely no chance to be successful for the most part, as far as from a technical standpoint or from a playing standpoint, because you'll be out of shape. You'll have no rhythm. There's a lot of things that go into it. So 1 or 2 mishaps could set a team back, a month. It's not just for 14 days, could set a team back for a month. And in that month's time, your regular season could be, or your chance to win a league and all that stuff could be basically taken away. So we all need to be very smart. We talked about it a lot as a group. I think and the school's done a good job. We can't have visitors in the dormitories. In our situation, we have a very secured area as much as anything. We're not eating in groups. We only spend time with each other. We wear masks in the dormitory outside of our own room. So even if you go to the kitchen or sit in the main area, you should have a mask on. I think our guys have handled that pretty well. I mean, it's kind of strange to get in the locker room and you got to be out of the locker room in 15 minutes and wear a mask on when you're in the locker room, unless you're in the shower. But our guys have taken it serious because they would rather play than enjoy the benefits of what a college student is, and that's to have the freedom to come and go as you please. So I think we're pretty fortunate on that front.
Coach, have you guys had tests? I mean, we know what's going on with football. They're testing like 3 times a week. Have you guys already begun testing? Have you had guys who have already had the virus yet and maybe have some immunity? Where are you guys with that?
Yeah, we've had, I don't think I'm really supposed to talk about any specifics at all. I will say this, that we have tested every week since the guys have been on campus, and we have been extremely pleased with what has transpired through the testing. We've only been doing it once a week, and that will be amped up to 3 times a week or whatever is right for college basketball to do. I don't know if it's 3 times. I don't know if it's daily. I don't know, whatever. But certainly that has not taken place yet, but will be, I would think, in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Coach, there's a rhythm, right, to preparing for each season, especially doing it as long as you've had. You get used to what goes where and what you do in October and what you do in September and what you do in August and before that even. I mean, what's this been like for you personally to have to kind of reset that, and has it had a major impact?
I've got no rhythm. Never have, but I certainly have it during this COVID stuff on how to prepare a team. You stop and think about it, we would known that Kentucky would be our first game. So you spend, your preseason, although that's not the most important thing, just like last year, Duke was not the most important thing, but to many, that's something to look forward to, and it puts pressure on you to perform, to get ready for a season. I mean, just like football, if you open up with Alabama or you open up with Clemson, I mean, it'll give your guys some motivation. We don't even know who we're playing yet. We know that we're going to play Kentucky, I believe, in the bubble down there sometime, maybe the second week. But so we don't even know what's going on. So we're not really preparing for our opponents yet until we positively know who that is. And the other thing is, you stop and think about it. I had one of my talking to Dooley the other day, and Joe brought up a good point. I said, Joe, how much you got in? He said, I about got everything in. I'm going, what? He said, I'm trying to put in as much stuff as possible. I said, well, do you do any of it good? He said, no, we're awful at everything. But I want to have it in, because if we get quarantined for 14 days, you're not going to have time to have everybody together teach it. So at least you have a general understanding about what you're trying to do. So I think from that standpoint, stuff like that, I think it is different. I think the idea, let's just go slow and steady and all that stuff. Slow and steady is fine, but if you get quarantined for 2 weeks or whatever, now you're so far behind that you maybe not can catch up until after Christmas. So I think everybody's probably approaching it a little differently. And I think we're going faster than we ever have, Matt.
Coach, what kind of jump are you expecting from David McCormick this season?
Oh, I expect David to have I expect him to have a all league, challenge All-American type year. I do. I think that he's going to get the opportunity to put up numbers, and I think he will get numbers. I think he's a much improved scorer. He's a good shooter. His athleticism has improved. His want to is at an all-time high. His commitment's off the charts. The thing about with David that's he's not as explosive as Doak in a lot of ways, but he's got to be able to defend the paint, be a better rim protector, and he's got to stay out of foul trouble, because you could have a talented guy, but if he's only playing 16 minutes a game because of foul issues, it doesn't really help you that much. So he's got to be much better at playing with his head and his feet, not his hands, and that's something that we'll spend a lot of time on.
Coach, with the challenges of everyone navigating the COVID stuff in terms of personal responsibility and staying healthy, are there extra challenges placed on upper class leadership on the team? And sort of dovetailing with this, could you just discuss some of your aspirations for Marcus this year?
Well, I do believe this. I think if your leaders and your veterans are handling things a certain way, the young kids have to fall in line. I think if your leaders and veterans aren't, then I think it's much easier for those guys to follow them. So I do believe that we've had excellent leadership, and I know Marcus is a big key, and of course Mitch is a big key, and all of our other upperclassmen are big keys. But to me, Marcus should make this his team. But if he makes it his team, it's a responsibility that he owns, that he's responsible for everybody else in what takes place. And if he's not willing to do that, then it's really not his team. So I think that's a challenge that we've given Marcus, and I think he's accepted it, and I think guys will follow. And we've been real fortunate so far that that's been the case. This isn't a natural national level of worry, all right? But I think every coach is concerned about, you want your kids to also to have fun. You want your kids to wake up and go to class and you be social and see others and enjoy each other and practice and this and that. But the way it's kind of set up now, hey, they do their school online for the most part, and they play ball, and that's it. So we hope that that's fun, but I do worry about, you know, college students obviously getting a little anxious to enjoy, you know, what college is all about, and certainly we're not getting a chance to experience that, nor is anybody else on any campus.
Bill, you guys have had the vantage point of being able to see all these sports come back and have ups and downs, but be mostly successful. Have you been encouraged, discouraged from seeing NFL, MLB, NBA, college football, and what's transpired with them so far?
Well, it was the bubble was unbelievably encouraging. I mean, to think how the NBA can put that together with that many individuals, with that many different interests, all the stuff going on, and have zero positives throughout that when they're testing, I assume daily or every other day, whatever they were doing. It's remarkable what they were able to accomplish and the sacrifices that all those individuals made. But basketball is maybe one of the easiest sports to do it, other than, you know, I don't know about tennis or golf, but because the numbers are so small. But you know, you're dealing with football. Hey, the NFL. I'm watching Wake Up this morning, and they're talking about whether or not the NFL will complete their season this year because of all the different things that's getting ready to happen with the weather changing and everything else. It would make it that much more difficult to do. And when you really think about it, it's not necessarily the players or whatever or the coaches. There's so many people that go into running a business that contact could occur in a way that could create so many problems moving forward. And you know, obviously health will take precedent over everything. So I am concerned. You know, baseball looks like they're going to get through it after some struggles. Basketball did fantastic. I assume hockey killed it and did very well. But NFL right now is, you know, and how much of that is going to continue to get worse as the weather also gets colder. So I don't know. I have some concerns. I know we'll have a season, but I think there's going to be some major challenges in all sports, including men's basketball and women's basketball, that we haven't seen yet. Because I do think if I understand this correctly, there's a chance that the virus could be on an uptick as the weather gets colder.
A couple more questions, fellows.
How challenging has it been recruiting in this environment?
You know, it was really good early. You know, we got a couple right out of the chute, and you know, I can't comment on them because they haven't signed, but everybody knows we got a couple of commitments. But it's kind of grown stale, to be honest with you. We've done a lot of Zoom calls. We've done enough stuff, I think, to be in good shape. But this is kind of a difficult spot, and you know, Kansas State's going through it, Oklahoma State, Iowa State. There's schools that are going through it. But when you don't live in a major metropolitan area, and you kids are making decisions sooner and sooner because, you know, the panic is setting in a little bit because they're not being allowed to visit and they don't want somebody taking their spot and those sorts of things. Usually teams that have the most success, in my opinion, are the ones that have least seen their school. And that's been very difficult for people to do with us because, you know, we don't live in an area that's, you know, it's easily accessible to the masses of the players, the coast or deep south or whatever, or the upper Midwest. And so and you know, you can't really have anybody here now. So that's been the challenge. I think my guys have done a great job staying in touch, communicating. I think we've had some success doing some different things with them, including Zoom calls and things like that to sell it the way we want to. But I do think it's been a little bit more challenging for us to close than I think it has been maybe in years past, if everything's the same, just because of you know, there's hadn't been too many kids that we're really, really in on that have ever seen our place. And so I think that's an important factor, especially when kids are going to make decisions sooner and sooner.
Hey, you talked about it a little bit last year, but with the empty arenas and those kind of things, clearly going to be a reality now. What are the changes planning, you know, an empty field house or a partially emptied field house and some of the other arenas that you'll play in?
You know, I don't know. You know, we've had the best home court in America. That's been proven out over time for a long time, and I think a lot of that is due to the quality of players we have, but also a big portion of it is due to the support that we receive, and we're not going to have that. I would think if you're an opponent, you see this as an opportunity to play at Kansas and maybe not play against the sixth man near as much, which obviously played a role in us winning a lot of games. But, you know, it's the same way us going somewhere else, too. You know, we usually get most people's best shots in the arenas we play in, and now it'll be comparable, you know, obviously to what it is here. So I really don't know how it's going to play out. I think this is the one year that we need to not worry about that. We need to worry about just playing. We need to worry about being a team. We need to worry about looking forward to each situation, regardless of how different it is or unnatural that it feels, because it's going to be a year full of that. And the teams that respond to that the best and don't say, oh, I wish all the time, I think will be the teams that have the most success. You know, our guys like to play. So if they like to play, they should enjoy playing regardless of where it is. And the NBA obviously gave us some unbelievable ball in the bubble, and they played with about the same number of fans or less than what our guys will be playing in front of. So we know it's possible, but the mature teams will handle it well. We didn't win games because we played in front of a packed house all the time. We won games because we had good players, and we still have good players. And so we just have to somehow rise and play to that level of energy and things like that and feed off of each other, where in the past we always had our fans to feed off of. But it's doable. It'll be different, but this didn't need to be a year where we need to get worked up about any of that stuff, because it's going to be so different this year. The team that can just roll with it and not be, I would say, hampered by the things that happen unnaturally, will be the teams that do the best.
Coach, I just wonder if you could evaluate the depth. Sorry, is that it?
Hey, I'll do the last one. You can go get Mitch right here because he's part of that depth. But I like our players. I think we could play. You know, I think we could play 11. I think there's, depending on how things fall out, you know, there's times where maybe we could play all 13. I don't believe that I'm ever going to play 13 guys in a big game, though. But right now, I don't know who we'd play. If you were to look at our top 8 or 9, I think right now, the way I see it, it's pretty inconsistent on who it is from day to day. There's a couple of consistent performers in there. You know, I'd still say Oach and Marcus and David as much as anybody. But I like the fact that the best players that we think by past performances have to play great for us to win. I don't know that that's the case, because I think we got some guys capable of playing at that level, and hopefully we can just find 5 or 6 every game to do that. But you know, it certainly gives us some a little bit of luxury if we stay healthy, that we can fight through some foul problems and health issues.
Can you remember having that very often?
Oh, we've had it here. You know, you guys remember we've had NBA guys not getting games. I mean,
yeah, right.
Jeff Withey was our 5th best big. I mean, we don't have depth like that. You know, Cole Aldridge couldn't get in the game until, you know, 2 other guys had 4 fouls. I mean, we've gone through stuff like this, but it is a good problem to have, trying to figure out who to put in games in certain situations. We don't have probably as many of what I consider to be, you know, lottery lottery pick type potential, but we have a lot of guys that are really good players, and I think that creates balance. And my best teams that I've had, for the most part, have been teams that have decent balance. So I'm pretty excited about that.